Hello everyone, welcome back to Svalbard. Let's grab something to drink and then sit down and have a chat. Okay. I think there might be northern lights out. 1 second. It was just a cloud. Today I thought we would do a little bit of just like a sit down chat to debrief the whole polar night and how everything has gone up until now and how this year has gone. And I think it's been quite a while since I just did like a sit down and talk. So that's exciting. Today I am drinking a bone broth because I've had my coffee. It's now 12. And I got up at 11:30. That brings me to my first point. My sleep schedule is completely ruined. Usually it's not this bad, but this year I think I just kind of like let go of all the rules. And I was like, you know what? If I go to sleep at 3 a.m. and I wake up 8 hours later, that's fine. I think my only rule this polar night was that I am not allowed to sleep more than 9 hours. But 9 for me is normal. I'm a master sleeper. You know this if you've been around here for a while. I sleep at least 7 till 9 hours each night, and that is how I function the best. So as long as I don't sleep more than 9, I'm fine. And I haven't done that. So it's more the fact that I've just gone to bed later and later and later, and I've just not been able to go to bed earlier. Like I've lay down at like 10 some days, just laying there until like 3. But since I can work anytime on my schedule, like I choose what hours I work, I've just not stressed too much about it. I'm just kind of laughing about it now and just being like, oh, okay. But it's not, I mean, it's kind of what to expect. We live in complete darkness for so long. And the main thing that's affected is definitely your circadian rhythm because you have nothing to tell you when to wake up. So my main struggle this polar night has without a doubt been the sleep schedule. Yeah, I think this year is worse than other years. But apart from that, it has been a super easy polar night and without a doubt also my fastest polar night. I have barely noticed the weeks go by, which is a little bit scary because, you know, polar night is my favorite time of year. And I think that for real, like this year, I didn't stop and enjoy it as much as I've done other years. But I think that's because I've had so much work, which I nowadays always have during polar night. Because in the beginning, when I just worked, you know, at the store or I worked at the school, I came home and I didn't have any work. So all I could do was like enjoy. You know, we hiked a lot more. We chilled a little bit more. But now that I do this, I have a different schedule that, you know, makes me do different kind of work and a lot more, which takes away a lot of my free time. So I think going into the next polar night, I really need to focus on preparing a bit more and having maybe a better schedule. Because this time is so much about just relaxing if you can, you know, and enjoying the darkness, which I still definitely have, but I just don't feel like I've done it enough, if that makes sense. But maybe I'm also just getting greedy with how much I want to chill. I don't know. But so that's for next year. I need to remember to just take the time to do nothing. A lot more. My main tip for sleeping and getting up in the morning, even though I haven't done it very well, it's still a sleep watch. I was gonna say a wake up light. It's called. I love mine. All I do is turn it off, but it still does wake me up. It works perfectly. I just ignore it. So it wakes you up slowly with the sunrise. Okay, next subject. The darkness hasn't felt that dark. We've had pretty good weather. Today is actually minus 19 degrees, so it's getting cold. I think that's also a misconception during this time of year. We don't have that cold weather. So it can be pretty mild in December and January. And then in February and March, we get our really cold winters when the light returns. So now to have -19 is actually, you know, a bit more rare than it is common. But I enjoy when it's really crispy outside because it's, you know, today is super clear and very beautiful. Love bone broth. We've also noticed that Grim during polar night, he's very sleepy. It's all he does. He doesn't want to go outside, mainly I think because he's a little bit scared of the dark. So all he does is sleep inside. And I'm not kidding. It's all that he does. But of course, that's all that he has to do. It's his job to be cute and just sleep. But we are forcing him out on his daily run because otherwise he'll get a little bit chunky. And his daily walk. So he's still getting a lot of air and a lot of exercise. And he's enjoying it while he's out. He just doesn't want to be outside on his own. Oh no, my fire. I'm doing a Christopher kind of fire, which means just blasting it with the heater. But yeah, so Grim's just chilling. Christopher's also had a really good polar night. I asked him and he's just like, yeah, he's been watching a lot of The Good Wife and a lot of TV. And that's what he does usually during this time of year because he doesn't as much like to hike as I do. But we did hike together. Started this year. Well, the start of this year. But I think the most important thing also going into a season like this, and it also applies to the Midnight Sun season, it's just really your mindset. You know, if I keep telling myself that I hate this, I think I would be very affected by the darkness. Because it is still something that is very unusual for the body. And I also don't think it's about being like toxically positive. Every day isn't wonderful just because I love polar night. That doesn't mean that every day feels amazing. But I would say that most days feels amazing. Because there is so much that's special about this time, I feel. You know, looking out into pitch black darkness at 1, it just feels so crazy that it becomes kind of magical, you know? And also I associate the darkness with a lot of comfort. I feel like, ooh, it's cozy. I mean, look at the inside. This kind of vibe and light, it's only possible when it's dark out. So I associate these two together and therefore I think of it as something very positive. And I've also read a lot in the comments that people have started thinking about winter differently and it is actually helping them, you know, actually have a better experience this time of year. So I really love that it is, you know, resonating with some people to kind of try to look at winter differently. There's so much beauty in it, you know? And imagine if you live somewhere where there's day and night. You still get day and then you have night and coziness. So I think there's so much to do during this time of year, whether it's inside or outdoors. You just need to like open your eyes to the possibilities. I want to talk about some books that I've read also, and some books that I'm going to read next year. Give me 1 second. Look at the fire. Here's a little bit of the list. Also, if you want to hear me talking about books more, I usually talk a lot about books on Patreon. So I have Patreon, which is a site where you can sign up for a monthly membership. There's extra videos a week and book chats and coffee chats and stuff like that. So I talk about books a lot there. But now I'm going to give you an update of what I've been talking about. So I would say the worst, is that brutal? Well, what did I read last year? One of the books that was the most hyped that I wanted to read was Fourth Wing. And this is very much a TikTok book. And it's very much for the younger generation in my eyes. I think it's like starter fantasy. Also, I have been on a fantasy train for over a year now, and I'm not stopping. Sarah J. Maas and A Court of Thorns and Roses, that series, completely got me hooked. All I want to read is about dragons and warriors and cool girls in a fantasy land. I love it. It's the best kind of escape, you know? But it's not the only books that I read, so I'm going to show you some of them. This, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody who actually likes fantasy and stuff like that. Maybe if it's a starter book. I think the writing is too simple and, you know, it was fine. I also have the second book, but I think I'm gonna have to take a break before I read it. But I do want to know what happens. Like the end of this book, shocking. I loved the last 30 pages. So I think it's just, you know, that. Then we have one that it's been on my list for a really long time. The Sweetness of Water, which is definitely not fantasy. So it's a book that I wanted to read that I've heard really good things about. So that is on my list. Then we come to some of the one that I talk about all the time, but I think is so worth mentioning because every time somebody reads it, they say that they really, really enjoyed it. So it's apparently a good recommendation, but it's my favorite book. It's Stoner by John Williams. And this book kind of, in a weird way, just changed something in me. I still think about this book. So I'm gonna reread it. I read it for the first time, I think 3 years ago now. And I still think about it. You know, once a week I think about this book and I'm like, but that happened. And it's just sad, beautiful, happy, everything at the same time. And it's so beautiful. I'm gonna read this again. Then somebody sent me, which I'm so happy about, this Butcher's Crossing, which is also from John Williams. So I am gonna read this one as well. Super excited about that one. I read one of these and I read the wrong one for the first book, but it's the cafe, wait, what's it called? It's Japanese. Before the Coffee Gets Cold is the one that I read. And this, I think, is the first one. I really enjoyed these as shorter kind of story. And also since it's translated from Japanese, it's very different when it comes to the way it's written and the culture it explains and everything. And I just really like the story. It's a perfect little daydream book. And it's so little that it's just like, it's an easy but really interesting read. I found it. Definitely fantasy-ish. This is something that I picked up, started reading, and then it got so complicated and I was in the wrong headspace that I didn't understand anything. I felt like I needed to take notes. But I think now that I'm deep in my fantasy train, this is something that I'm going to pick up again and just start over. This is how far I got. And yes, I am a book page flipper. I break spines. I like my books worn. I like to, you know, that you feel like you've read them, you know? And then apart from these, I'm going to read all of the Sarah J. Maas books that I have. I am currently on book 5 of Throne of Glass. So I'm going to read that one, and I'm going to read the 2 last ones in that series. And then I'm going to start the Crescent City series. Is that what it's called? I think so. From the same author. And then I'm just going to continue reading all that she has because I enjoy it so much. Her writing is so good. So I think that's the update. But when I come home from traveling, I will have bought a lot of new books. And I think the top of my fantasy list is buying a lot of Brandon Sanderson. Is that what he's called? And some of his series, because people say they're so good. So I'm going to try some of those. And then I have a lot of other books, like The House by the Cerulean Sea, I think, is one that's also on my list. So I am on Goodreads. And I just, you know, add books that people say to different kind of like want to buy, want to read. But that's exciting. And actually, we are going on vacation now in January. And when you're watching this, I think we are just about coming home from our vacation. Me and Christopher are going together this year. I'll tell you where when we're back, because it's just, you know, easier with everything. And we'll show you. I will probably most definitely make a video about it. So Christopher and I finally get to travel together. I don't think we did a single trip together last year. I think we did all of them separate. So we said this year we need to, you know, travel together and get that time. So what we've done with Grimm, since he has to stay with somebody, and he couldn't stay with the people that he did last year. So we got him a new sitter, a lovely lady who lives in town. She used to have 2 dogs, but I think they just died of old age. And the way she treated them like princesses. Oh, it makes me so happy. So we've been having him there. Like, I think that he's been there 4 times now, like 1 or 2 days every time, just to get him used to going there and coming back. Because my worst nightmare would be that he thinks that he's not coming back, you know? That would be so sad. So we've just kind of like, you know, got his brain into knowing that he's just going there and he loves it. They sent us photos where he was not nervous at all, just sleeping under their sofa table. He loves that. And just, you know, quiet and chilling, because he's a very whiny boy and he wasn't whining there. So I think that means that he feels like it's safe, you know, that he can stay. But it's really important. I didn't think I was going to become this person, but I just love him so much. And the thing is, I protect his mental space. You know, we've got him to such a good mental space. Is that a word? We've got him to such a good place mentally. Maybe that's mental place, maybe. Anyway, where we really don't want to undo any of the work and all of the trust that he has in us now. But you know what? I think since we've now done the work and had him there before, it's going to be good. It's going to be okay. So we're so excited to get some sun on this skin. I usually call the polar night the Arctic tan. Like, it doesn't even look bad in this lighting because I've strategically chosen to have the lighting a little bit pink. Because otherwise you will see through me because I'm that pale. I think I just need some sun, you know? Oh, it's probably going to be hard on the eyes. Every time we go down and the first day you see sun, your eyes are like, it's sunglasses for a few days. I just hope that it's not as tiring as my first trip to Portugal was last year, where I was exhausted because you're so not used to having any sun. And I just remember being so tired. But I'm just excited. We're gonna do something else. We're gonna go somewhere where Christopher has never been. I've been many times, actually. I kind of like that now. As I get older, I just want to revisit places I've been, because I'm a little too lazy to rediscover things right now. I just want comfort and something that's easy. You know what I mean? That's just where I'm at. Okay. Going into this new year here on my channel, here on YouTube. First of all, thank you so much for being here. I love seeing the comments where someone's like, I was around where there was like 200 subscribers. And I look back at those videos and I mean, they're not very good, but they are still, you know, the core of the channel. And I kind of love seeing how much of an improvement I've made over these few years, which is natural because, you know, the more you do something, the more you learn about it. I didn't know anything about videography in the beginning, nothing at all. So I just feel like I've learned so much so fast. And also new camera, new gear, different editing. Like, I still edit and do everything, but it's just very exciting. So this year I'm trying to think, okay, what kind of videos do I want to make? And it will always be very lifestyle here, I think, but I want to add some different series, I want to call them. I want to add kind of something to add to the normal videos that I make. So I think I'm going to continue Meet the Locals. So let me know what you think about these kind of video ideas, because at the end of the day, it's always interesting to hear your thoughts. But it's kind of funny. Sometimes I see, you know, a video on a vlog saying like, oh, this is so repetitive, but like, I live here. Like, this is what life is here. Like, I try to find a lot of different subjects and things to show and stuff like that. But, you know, this channel is about daily life in Svalbard and kind of just going through the seasons and everything that comes and changes with that. And yeah, maybe sometimes it's going to be repetitive, but that is life here. But I do want to add some more fun, different topics as well. So, you know, we get to see some different things. And one thing that I want to add is going to different places in mainland Norway. Like, they have some really cool cabins. I think it could be fun for me, Christopher, and Grim. We're gonna try to fly him down to maybe northern Norway and then, you know, drive. And that's kind of what I want to add. So I want to go to a few different cabins in Norway and show you where you can travel on the mainland, or where you can visit, or just take you along on an adventure. I think that's an idea that I had. So let me know if you want to see some cabin adventures. That could be fun. Also Meet the Locals. And then I'm going to try to do some more I want to try out maybe some of the different boats that are up here to see. Because last year when we did Nordstjärnan, it's really interesting. We saw some places that we haven't been to. You know, it was a different kind of experience. So I think that could be interesting. I really want to do a 10-day trip on Lynn's boat. I mean, that would be incredible. So we're gonna see what we're gonna do this year, but we're gonna continue with life on Svalbard and the adventures. And the thing is, there's so much that I haven't shown you. I want to get some more footage out in different cabins, like out in the field, and really show you how rough and rugged it can be. I think now that I have more gear and better gear, that I can be a little bit better equipped. Like, I want to show you what it's like driving when it's, you know, white out and super bad conditions and things that really happen on a lot of trips. Because often I don't pick up my camera in those situations because, you know, it's minus 100 and we're in the middle of a snowstorm. But I think I want to show you the reality of that side of Svalbard too. The very, very Arctic kind of like, will we survive? Okay, that's a little bit, but the very Arctic and very rough environment that we do have when we're out in the field. I just need to get more comfortable with just picking up my camera. You know, I just need to mount like 500 GoPros or action cams on my snowmobile. And then we'll just, you know, have an angle and all. Imagine that. But I'll figure it out. But I have a lot of fun plans and I'm really excited about the adventure starting. Do you know what I realized I want to do also? I want to sign up for the ski marathon that we have this year, but maybe with a little bit of training. Also, I'm doing the running marathon this year as well. Well, half marathon. You remember what I told you last year. If I ever think that I'm going to run a marathon, stop me. I'm stopping myself. I've signed up for the half marathon again, but I have a goal. Last year I did 2.5 hours. I'm going to do 2 hours, baby. So I'm actually going to start running soon. I told myself I was going to start running now, but I haven't even thought about it. But yeah, I need to stretch maybe. But so yeah, I'm going to do that and I'm going to train for it. I just want to do a little bit of like, I don't know, challenges. I also want to do a ski. Okay. There's so much I want to do. Maybe I should actually start doing it instead of talking about it. Yeah, I'll start the training. But I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for being here and for continuing to support the channel. It's wild to think that we're 770,000 people here now. Is this the year that we aim for the million? Maybe. I mean, I try to not look at any number as a goal because it really isn't the goal. The goal is just to connect with all of you and show you Svalbard and, you know, kind of just doing this in general is the goal because it's so much fun. And I'm so happy that I can have this as my job and work together with Christopher. I love it. He and Grim are in the village, by the way. That's why there's not a little fart pig running around. But I want to say thank you so much for being here and we look forward to this year. There is so much happening. I hope. Imagine if I just sleep through another year. Well, I didn't sleep through it last year, but you know what I mean. Anyway, have an amazing day. I'm going to continue slurping my bone broth and then I'm going to make a coffee. This is generally how it goes. Oh, you've probably looked at my nails and been like, what on earth is happening? You saw it here, guys. These are my natural nails. I've never felt more naked. My nail girl's gonna kill me. I will see you next week. I hope you've enjoyed just sitting down and talking a little bit and just relaxing for a moment. I don't do a lot of these videos, but sometimes I just feel like it's really nice to sit down and just have a chat. I've enjoyed this polar night so much. Regular struggles that are the sleep schedule will probably always be there. But you know what? It's not that deep. I can make my own schedule. I'm a big girl now. The other day, I ate a cracker bread in my bed. If anything can tell you you're grown up, it's eating something very cracker bready in your bed because it makes a mess. But it's my bed. I can do whatever I want. Okay, I can go now. Love you guys. See you later. Smooches. Bye. I'm still here. See you later. Bye.